Recently, I was asked to illustrate a book of prize-winning short stories written by children inspired by the style and themes of Roald Dahl in the Welsh Books Council Dahl-Lightful Writing Competition for Schools. Now, illustrating a single story involves one set of characters. I had 17 stories to illustrate, and some were written in Welsh, which is a language I don't speak a lot of. This video shows how I set about the project. So here I am sitting at my desk in my little studio, which is a shed in the garden, and I'm starting to read your stories to think, what on earth am I going to illustrate? So I've got a sketchbook, I've got a pile of stories, and I'm just kind of writing down little things for each story. So I'm going to do an illustration for each story. So I'm going to read through the stories, and I'm making little notes. And the first story I'm reading is called The Cringiest Kid in Town. And this story involves an Oculus Rift VR headset, which immediately makes me think, I'll go back to my sketchbook here. And I did this little sketch in PC World where I was watching people trying out VR headsets. And there was this kid who was dancing about. He was just so animated. And I've tried VR headsets myself, but watching other people with them on, I know how animated they can become. So I've got that in mind as I'm reading the story. So I'm just going to kind of read through the story, make notes, make little sketches, and I have a feeling that this story might well be based on that kind of image. I've got to do a bit of research with Oculus Rift to see if you get those hand things as well, and because it has to be Oculus Rift rather than a Vive headset or anything else. You have to do your research as well, you know. It's not just drawing pictures. Yes, so I've been looking at the Oculus Rift thing, and they had these kind of weird circular hand things. So I have to get that right, because it specifically says Oculus Rift, and if I draw any other kind of handset, then somebody's going to go, that's not an Oculus Rift. So I've been reading the story, and this is a little sketch of the Oculus Rift kind of controller, which has little buttons and things on the top, which is a really difficult thing to draw, in fact. So anyway, I've been reading the story, and there's this character called Sega Tendo who's in the game, and he's described as a 3-foot-tall sprite with fairy wings and a pair of blue shorts and a red shirt. A large gold crown was placed on his messy blonde hair. So I should add blonde. Because if I get that wrong, then people will go, he should have blonde hair. Sometimes actually when you're illustrating and you got the illustration right and it's just about to go to press and you're reading through the final edits and you realise, oh no, I've drawn blue hair instead of blonde or something. You change it in the text. Just makes it a lot easier at the last minute to change one word than have to go and redraw the thing. I think he could be quite a fun character. So, and then we need to know what Nye is going to look like. And you see, Nye is just going to be in his goggles, so it doesn't really matter. He's got his Oculus Rift things on, and he's going to go, ah! You can have his hair sticking out like that, and that's all you're really going to see of him. So I'm going to put Nye, and then there's this other character who's an AI character called Gareki, and I thought, so Nye is a very socially awkward character, as he's described in the story. And he spends all his time gaming, and he gets really nervous talking to real people. But Gareki is an AI character within the game, and they become friends, and he can talk to him because he's not a real person. But Gareki wants to be a real person. If they win the game, then he becomes a real person. So they thought there's a lot at stake. I thought maybe black t-shirt, etc. And then I thought no, because that's kind of too obvious, really. And I thought maybe he should be a more, more of a cool kind of character. But, Nye, I suppose what he really wants is to have a really cool friend, and so I have to think about quite how to make him cool. And I suppose part of that's in the hair, making that. I don't know. And the trouble is, as soon as you draw a character and think, hey, that's, he's a cool character, then fashions change, and within a year or something they kind of look a bit lame and last year. So it's very difficult drawing a cool character, because cool is always changing. They end up in a big race with in a Super Mario Kart So I think maybe this is kind of where the final thing will be, and there'll be kind of lots of movement, and have Gareki, however I decide he's going to look, and I in the Super Mario Kart, and the Sega Tendo in the picture as well. So these are kind of my thoughts. Right at the moment, I don't know what size I've got in the book that I'm allowed to play with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave that as my thoughts. I'm going to write number 2. I'm going to go on to the next story, which is called Candyland, and do a very, very similar process and just keep working through. Then when I know exactly what sizes I've got, I know that all these thoughts will have been working away in the back of my brain, and new ideas will come out when I finally come to kind of do finished artwork, which I'll show you next. Thanks for watching, and you can support this channel and get so much more on my Patreon page. Click to find out more. Make sure you are subscribed to the Shoo Rayner Drawing Channel on YouTube, and in the meantime, keep drawing, practice, and I'll see you next time. You take care now. Bye bye.